Stick around. We got our best bets for Thursday Night Football at the end of the show during last call. Let's jump into love-hate, and we will start with the running backs with Kyren Williams here, Barry. Kyren Williams has been a volume king this year. Comes in as RB3 against the Ravens, who have a good defense, but this is a player that's just having a great fantasy season.
He played against the Cleveland Browns last week, another great defense, and ran all over them. Just massive workload. Again, you're like, well, Kyren Williams is obvious. Like, I'm at running back 3 this week. In a week in which there's only 2 teams on a bye, he's my running back 3. Again, you mentioned the workload, right? 94% snap rate last week. He got every running back touch last week except for 1. He scored at least 1 touchdown in 6 of his 7 games so far this year, where he's gotten at least 15 touches. We expect him to get that kind of workload. And running backs who've seen at least 15 touches against the Ravens this season, averaging over 18 fantasy points per game. Again, in games in which Kyren Williams has played this year, he's averaging almost 20 touches per game. So we certainly expect him to get to 15 against the Ravens. My running back 3 this week. It's an unbelievable story fantasy-wise.
Yep, it is. He's a monster. And this Ravens defense, as good as it is, not as good against the rush. Also going to be rain, going to be wind as well. Stafford, I don't think, is set up for success in this game, so I would expect them to lean on the run as much as possible.
Our next one here, Jay, is Zack Moss, because much like Kyren Williams, when Jonathan Taylor is out, volume king against the Cincinnati defense that looks like a shell of their former self in the last couple of weeks.
I think the Bengals might have the worst defense in football. Now, they're particularly bad against the pass, but they're also bad against the run. And I think Zack Moss, it was a disappointing game last week against the Titans, but the Titans have a really solid run defense. And against the Bengals, I think that particularly if the offensive line of the Colts is healthy, and we'll see about that, Braden Smith, their tackle, he left the game against the Titans. Should get an update on him tomorrow. But this is a very favorable matchup for Zack Moss.
Bengals have allowed a rushing touchdown to a running back in 4 straight, and in 8 of their past 9. We saw Travis Etienne get in the end zone against them on Monday night as well. And so Zack Moss, again, to your point, the box score production last week for Zack Moss was disappointing. The usage was not. 94% of the snaps, 100% of the running back carries in that one. Literally 100%. Do you know what that leaves for everyone else on the team? 0. I did that math in my head. I don't want to brag, but literally just 100%.
Best,
you can't do better than that. You can't do better than 100%.
You cannot. And one little sneaky thing about this one, Shane Steichen, yesterday when he was asked about the question was phrased as, so Jonathan Taylor missed this week, right? And Steichen was like, we'll see. So not complete. Now Taylor's supposed to be out 3 to 5 weeks, and it's been 1 week. So I would suspect that he's not going to be out, and Steichen's just having a little bit of fun. But he didn't rule him out. So and also, he hasn't gone on IR either, so there is some outside chance, maybe like a 5% chance.
Shane Steichen, what, the stick man?
Yeah, the stick man.
The stick man. That's what we're trying to make that work.
It feels like the Brian Dable after we saw Saquon Barkley's ankle twist a million times, and he's like, hey, we're not ruling him out yet, guys. Let's relax here.
Wouldn't be shocked, though, if Taylor's back maybe the following week.
Right.
This week would be a little abrupt.
We'll see. Very interesting. And by the way, they haven't ruled, just because we're talking about the Colts, and they're playing the Bengals, and the Bengals, of course, were part of that game where Trevor Lawrence went down last week. Same thing. Like, Trevor Lawrence is doing everything possible to, they haven't ruled him out yet. I don't think he's playing on Sunday, Trevor Lawrence. But
I don't think he is either.
But they are doing the same sort of dance where the media, where they're saying,
keep guessing.
He's doing 24 hours of straight therapy, whatever.
I think a good bet to make by the way. Lawrence has got no walking boot or anything. It seems like the injury is not that serious. I would expect that he's going to play the following week against Baltimore. And right now the line on that game is Jags plus 6.5 home to Baltimore on Sunday Night Football. I think that's close to the line if Beathard is playing, but if Lawrence is playing, that game is much lower. That's like a 2-point line in that kind of range. So I think you're better off betting. It's a good bet to bet the Jags right now.
Just a reminder, he did not need a cart, Trevor Lawrence.
Didn't need a cart. Though in retrospect, he said he should have got one.
Yes.
Right. He should have gotten a cart, but he did not have one. So.
Our next running back, Achane, against the Titans, where with him,
Achane.
we don't question the talent with Achane or the productivity at this point. It's just a matter of if he's healthy, and right now, Matthew, he looks healthy.
Dude, he looks nothing short of fantastic. Again, they were blowing my Commanders out from moment one, and they still had no problem giving a ton of work to Achane, or as some call him, Achane. He's had 4 different games, just 4 games where he's gotten double-digit touches in a game. 21 or more fantasy points in all 4 games. He's had at least 3 red zone touches in every one of those games, at least a 14% target share in 3 of those games. You like the matchup against Tennessee. Since week 5, they're a bottom 10 run defense. And so in a game in which they're favored by almost 2 touchdowns, the Miami Dolphins, Achane, to me, is a top 10 play. I'm at running back 7 this week. Achane.
Very strange inflection.
I
know. Well, because
it was terrifying.
One of our producers.
Explain yourself.
I'll tell you. I'm going to. If you'll be quiet for 1 second. One of our producers likes to call him Achane, and so I was having fun with that. His name is Achane, right? But then
right.
I got all tongue-tied.
Yes.
English is my second language.
Yes.
In fairness to me.
After Latin.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone knows that. I'm fluent in Latin.
Yeah.
I'm fluent in Latin.
Big Latin guy.
Yeah, big
Yeah,
Latin
well, you
guy.
put that on producer Damien, who started this ridiculous Achane phenomenon.
But it wasn't a joke at first. I just want to make this clear.
That's the real
No,
trouble.
he thought that's how it was pronounced.
Yes.
Which
It
was
wasn't.
pretty cool,
No,
honestly.
everyone thought it was Achane, and then after his
so
his
it's
coming out,
Achane.
Achane,
Yeah.
Achane, and that's how he was referred to at Texas A&M for years and years and years and
It's in the
years.
school guide.
Yeah,
The pronunciation guide.
You're right, exactly.
We use these things for the NFL draft.
And then when he comes out and has his first big game as a Dolphin, he's like, no, it's Achane.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was in the Constitution that whenever you light up the Denver Broncos, you get to change your name, which is very unique, but good on him. Good on you, Devin Achane.
Some others receiving votes. James
I've also
Cook.
been told it's Tirico. Tiric.
Yeah. Just wait, see if he lights up the Titans. We have a whole new name.
I don't think you could change this one. James Cook against the Chiefs. Chuba Hubbard against the Saints. Keaton Mitchell against the Rams. And Jay, with James Cook, I mean, with Joe Brady involved, volume guy for him as well. And we've seen the Chiefs defense be a little hot and cold this year as well.
Yep, they have not been great against the run all season in terms of efficiency. The volume numbers are a little bit disguised because they're the Chiefs and they're leading most of the time. But on a per-play basis, they've been pretty bad against the run. I think Buffalo's going to win this game, guys. The Bills are down to, they're only 1.5-point dogs in Arrowhead, so the market is very bullish on Buffalo. The Chiefs team just hasn't looked right for weeks, and I think Cook should be in position to capitalize.
2 games since Brady took over as the coordinator in Buffalo. James Cook is averaging 21 touches a game and a 14% target share. You see Chuba Hubbard there on your screen as well. We've talked about this. No Frank Reich, no Deuce Staley as the running backs coach. They went back to Hubbard as kind of the workhorse. He's now had back-to-back games with 19 touches since week 8. Saints allow a league-high 163 rushing yards per game. And then we talked about Keaton Mitchell out-snapping Gus Edwards the last time we saw the Ravens. He's averaging almost 10 yards per touch. So he comes in at running back 29. I think he's a high upside flex. I'm also facing him this week in a game in which I need to win. I'm in this league where I'm third in points. And I'm like, but I've just had bad luck. I'm most points against in one of those things. And if I don't win this week, and I'm playing the one team in the league, there's 2 teams in the league that have more points than me. I'm playing the one team in the league, one of the highest scoring team in the league. And so if I lose this game, I'm out of the playoffs despite having the 3rd highest point total in the league. He's got Keaton Mitchell, the guy I'm playing, so you know he's going off.
Feels like an 80-yarder.
He's going to have a monster game against me. I'm just telling you. That's how it's gone for me. I lost Mark Andrews and Anthony Richardson in this league. It's a super flex league. It's a deep 12-team super flex league. It's very annoying. It's very upsetting. So just so you know, Keaton Mitchell's going off because I need him to have a bad game.
Noted.
And he's not going to.
Noted pessimist Matthew Berry.
Yes.
I'm just
Do you go into every matchup thinking that the worst is going to happen, or you're even keel, or you're positive? You're negative?
No, I'm a Jew. What do you? I mean, come on. It's built into my DNA.
So because you're Jewish, Keaton Mitchell's going to go
Yes.
off. Okay.
Obviously.
Funny how that
Wow.
works.
It's amazing we got there.
Obviously, yes. Do I assume the worst? Of course I do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well,
Come on.
Boy.
Speaking of assuming the worst, the hate list. DeAndre
I
Swift.
understand. Like it's built into my DNA.
DeAndre Swift touches down against San Francisco. We saw him leave that game in the 4th quarter, and obviously, they get a little extra rest here. But DeAndre Swift not in your top 20 running backs this week, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if he's 100% healthy or not. He's obviously on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys on Peacock and NBC. I'm a company man, but he played on only 42% of the offensive snaps last week. Now, some of that was because he got banged up towards the end of the game, but also they were trailing. And they're using Kenneth Gainwell on passing downs, and that's the concern. So Swift, who just hasn't been involved in the passing game lately, even in games in which the Eagles were winning, that's a concern. They're on the road at Dallas where they are underdogs here as well. Cowboys defense, really good.
Yeah.
Really good. They allow 3.7 yards per carry to running backs. They've only allowed 3 running backs this entire season to get over 80 yards from scrimmage. So with Swift, basically, you're hoping he falls into the end zone, and there's always a chance at that. but because you're dealing with Jalen Hurts and the brotherly shove is literally like the most effective play in football, like a success rate of 99%, it's hard to see Swift, having feeling great about his chances of getting into the end zone here. So I'm at running back 22 in a week in which, again, only 2 teams are on a bye.
Yep, and last time he played Dallas, which was only a few weeks ago, so I think that's relevant in terms of the discussion. 18 carries, but only 43 yards on the ground, 2.4 yards per carry. I'm not sure why that would change their inability to create gaps for him on the offensive line, given the Dallas of the team with extra rest. He was only targeted twice in that game as a receiver, so just not going great for DeAndre Swift. Also, the Eagles just could not do anything on the ground against San Francisco. Their offensive line it hasn't been the same dominant run game when, there were memes in the Minnesota-Philadelphia game early in the season where, DeAndre Swift was running through holes that, the 3 of us could run through. But yeah, it's just not working. The other thing too, there's just such a strange phenomenon about watching Eagles games where as soon as they get to the 2-yard line, you just know that, all right, well, let's just fast forward because this is over. And it doesn't help DeAndre Swift. It's just all Jalen Hurts. So
the other thing is that the line is 3.5. Cowboys are favored by 3.5. And I feel like there's no chance that line hits. I feel like either the Eagles win this one because their backs are against the wall and they want to show everyone, hey, what happened last week against San Francisco, or they get blown out here. I mean, because the Eagles' defense isn't any good, and the Cowboys' offense is running on all cylinders. I mean, the Cowboys' offense looks as good as I've seen that offense look in years. They are, and so, given the struggles of the Eagles' defense, this game is at home. Dak and CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks and Jake Ferguson, that whole offense is really rolling. So I could see a scenario where the Eagles are down 10 in this game, they're down 14 or whatever, and all of a sudden they're in pass first, catch-up mode, and then it's a lot of Gainwell.
Yep. So the total in this game is 52, which is almost double the total of tonight's game. And look, I would be stunned if the Eagles were able to slow down Dallas. Dak is just playing too well right now. That secondary has been too bad for so long in Philadelphia. I don't think the Cowboys are going to slow down the Eagles that much, but there is the chance that the Cowboys defense could just bowl out, Parsons and Lawrence go off. So certainly you don't think game script is going to go in Philly's favor.
All right, next up on the hate list, Najee Harris for tonight's game, Thursday Night Football. Jay, Najee comes in as RB.
Can I just I'm interrupting. Whatever, doesn't matter. We're off the rails anyway. But back to that game for 1 second, real quickly. The other thing is are we sure the Eagles are really good? And here's what I mean by that. Think about the quote, the games they've played against good teams. They barely beat the Chiefs. Are we sure the Chiefs are a good team? They barely beat the Bills.
They should have lost to both of those.
They should have, right, exactly. And I'm just saying, the Bills are, I don't think we're convinced the Bills are a good team, right? And then, again, the Chiefs getting dominated by the Packers last week. Those are 2 flawed teams, the Chiefs and the Bills. And to your point, right, the Eagles easily could have lost both those games. A couple of calls went against them against the Cowboys. Cowboys easily could have won the game they played.
My biggest concern for the Eagles is that they didn't blow out the Commanders either time. They didn't blow out New England. They're not destroying teams. Last year they were destroying teams,
right.
And it was comical. This year they just haven't reached the same level. I'm not sure how much of that is Jalen Hurts, how much of that is guys in the secondary just getting old. Their linebackers have been a mess. We'll see if Shaq Leonard fixes that. But no, I don't think they're one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the NFL right now.
We'll get more into that matchup during the quarterback love list as well. But Najee Harris here, Jay, makes it in the top 30 running backs. He's RB27, but New England's run defense has been stout, and Najee comes into this game banged up.
So I'm not sure how this has happened, but on an efficiency play-by-play basis, New England have the best run defense in the NFL. So I don't know how it's happened, but that's where we are at the moment. Najee's banged up, expected to play, but he's on the injury report. You would expect they're going to lean on Jaylen Warren. If he's banged up on a short week and Warren is full go health-wise, then why wouldn't they just lean on Warren? The total is 30. There's not going to be that many points in this game.
Over the last 4 weeks, no team in the NFL has allowed fewer fantasy points per game to opposing running backs than the New England Patriots. Since week 6, only 1 running back has scored even 15 fantasy points against the Patriots. We think Jaylen Warren's the better running back. Honestly, even with all things being equal, now you've got Harris who hasn't practiced all week. He's going to be active tonight, but you just don't feel great about his chances in a bad matchup, less than healthy. He comes in at running back 27 for me. Feels like he could re-injure himself. He could just be out there for insurance. They don't want to pass that much in this one, but yeah, in a low-scoring, ugly game, he's a touchdown-dependent low-end flex.
Our last running back, Alexander Madison, against Las Vegas. I feel like he has some real estate on the hate list at this point. Alexander Madison comes in as RB32.
I promise you it's not personal.
Yeah.
I promise you it's not personal here.
RB32 this week, Barry, against the Vegas team that you think the Minnesota offense could take advantage of a little bit.
I think so, but I think they'll take advantage of it through the air as well. Like, first off, like, Ty Chandler has become a thing for this Vikings offense. 6 straight games now for Madison where he's handled below 60% of the team's rushes. Remember, Josh Dobbs always a threat to take it and run it himself. Last 4 weeks, Raiders top 5 in the NFL in terms of fewest yards per carry allowed to opposing running backs. So Madison in this game, he's in a timeshare in a game in which we think the Vikings will move the ball through the air. They get Justin Jefferson back in this one. They're going to want to throw to him as well. And so, I don't know, like, Madison's not really involved in the passing game either. So, yeah, I mean, I'm at running back 32. Don't love it.
It's been 6 weeks since he's had more than 2 targets in the passing game. He's fumbled each of the past 2 games as well. Now, I do think Jefferson coming back will help their running game a little bit just in terms of the space, but it just doesn't seem like there's a great deal of ceiling for Madison at the moment.
This holiday season, get the fantasy fan in your life, the exclusive Roto-World Draft Guide bundle featuring expert analytics, player insights, and season-long tools. Get all 3 of the draft guides for one low price. Go to NBCSports.com/holiday bundle and use code HOLIDAY23 at checkout to receive 25% off and a $10 Fanatics gift card. We're taking our first break. When we're back, Love-Hate continues with the pass catchers and quarterbacks.
Just, that's what I bought each of you guys
oh, thank you
for the
so
holidays.
much.
Thank you, Matthew.
Well, you guys are the sports fans
That's
in my
very
life.
sweet of you.
Yeah.
Fantasy Fanatics.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.